Okay, good morning. Good morning. This is Panic and Rehab morning. Good morning, James.
Good morning, Jim.
What is happening, brother?
It is Thursday. We got one more day. Now, do I got a karaoke tomorrow?
I can't figure it out. We got in
Well,
trouble
it's
for the
just
last
me
time
and
in
you.
karaoke.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get in trouble, but all we have to do is, I hate to do it. We can do it live, but then the recorded version would have to be deleted, the
Y-
song portion of it.
Yeah. And I don't know how to do that.
Yeah,
So
well,
anyway,
I
the
do.
reason I'm the reason I'm wearing this ridiculous outfit, but in reality, you're seeing me. This is my fishing outfit, James. This is how I go fishing in Florida, right here, buddy.
It
Because
looks like it looks like a Florida fishing outfit.
if I put on this hat to go fishing back in the backwaters of the Everglades, the game wardens that go back there, they'll check every other boat for catches and licenses, but they won't check me. It's kind of a secret. I mean, it's like they stay far away from this cowboy. All right, but today's rundown is famous birthdays. So happy birthday to the late great Hugh Hefner, Playboy, creator of Playboy magazine.
Yeah, he's an idol of mine.
Yeah, he created a lot of entertainment. His stories and his editorials on those magazines were incredible, weren't they,
Yeah,
James?
that's what I got him for was the articles.
That's right. He taught half the American young men ages 10 and up how to read. I mean, basically.
The first female police officer to ever pose in a magazine nude was Barbara Shantz, and she was right here in Springfield, Ohio.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yep, she lost her job.
Huh. Wow.
Different times
Oh,
back then.
oh, that's right. Yeah.
It was back in the '80s.
She was a cop.
Yeah, she was a cop.
Did everybody start speeding more around that area, hoping maybe to get pulled over?
While she was under review, because they still let her work for a while, they put her in a review because they didn't know what to do with her.
Right.
Uh, she pretty much said it was a blessing to lose her job because every time she'd pull somebody over, all they wanted to do is ask to see her tits and shit.
Oh, I'd put the cuffs on him then, buddy. Well, it's also Dennis Quaid's birthday. He's 70 something. I had the age wrong, but I don't think he minded. I put down that he was 27. We both know he's got shoes that are older than
Dennis Quaid
27.
is an excellent actor.
Oh yeah. What's your favorite movie with Dennis Quaid?
Waltz Across Georgia
Yeah.
with Christy McNichol.
Oh, okay.
It's an old one.
Wow.
But I also liked him when he played Reagan.
Right.
So, that was good.
Yep.
But I mean, I haven't seen a Dennis Quaid movie I didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
But
Wasn't
yeah,
he in that?
Waltz Across Georgia was my favorite.
Wasn't he in like that one that was like about shark? No, about Day After Tomorrow or something like
Yeah,
that.
yep, that's
Yeah,
right. Exact. That was the title of it too. He
yeah,
had to
Day
go
After
to New
Tomorrow.
York to get his kid because the climate was changing so fast that New York flooded and it would turn to ice and it was going to be sub-zero. So he went there to rescue his kid and had to rescue the entire class.
Right.
So
But
yeah,
that was kind of an unbelievable movie. I mean, I think I saw it once, and then I
yeah,
was like, this Hollywood has really gone liberal. So there you go.
yeah. Climate change.
Yeah, I guess. Hey,
We
there
don't
you go.
panic over that one.
No. Little Nas. No, it's also birthday for happy birthday, Little Nas. Now, Little Nas,
I
NAS,
do know Lil Nas. Yeah.
Little Nas X, and that's 27. These rappers, they change their names too much for me to remember who they are. I mean,
Like
Michael Jackson never
Puff
changed
Daddy,
his name.
Do Daddy, a Diddler Daddy,
Yeah.
White Party Daddy.
Yeah. One of them just got banned from going into the UK after he spent money to go to the UK and then got rebuked at customs. So good luck with that.
I mean, they say such offensive things. I mean, not everybody has free speech like we do.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I guess. And who's Christine Stewart? 36 years
I
old.
don't know who Kristen Stewart is. I'd have to look that one up.
Okay. All right. And on this date, On this date, 1865, very important date. What was that date? 1865 in the United
It was
States.
the end of the Civil War.
Yep. End of the Civil War. American Civil War. Lee surrenders to Union General Ulysses S. Grant in at Appomattox Courthouse. Now,
Some would say the wrong side won. Some
well,
would say. Some
yeah,
would
I
say.
mean that whole that whole conflict was based on a lot of things,
Yeah. State rights,
income tax,
commerce. Yep.
income tax, talk about taxing the rich. Okay, that was basically the first of it, taxing the rich.
Yep.
And yeah, and did you hear some fun facts about that whole conflict, Civil War? You became an officer in the army on both sides, Confederate and Union, if you recruited enough men to make uh, enough men to make a troop or an army. Okay, so if you could get enough people in your town to enlist and train and get into uniform, they made you the colonel or the captain or whatever. You know what I mean?
Shoot,
Didn't
I'd
this
recruit so many. Come here, buddy. Yeah,
didn't
I just need two more, and I'm a general.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't like you had any military background. You just basically uh, got enough people to join up with you from your hometown. And I did a story one time about a group out of Florida that they never returned, and it was about six brothers in a family that went to the Civil War. Six brothers in a Florida family that went to the Civil War. That's almost unheard of, you know. And
Yeah.
they
Now,
never
were they all
returned.
on the same side? Because
Yeah.
some brothers, they one fought for one side, one fought for the other, depending on how they felt about something.
Sure. And people had 13, 14, 15 kids. I mean,
Yeah.
you had a lot of kids. And if you were healthy and kind of knew what you're doing, got around some clean water, dysentery was the worst thing. They called it the soldier's
And there wasn't no
disease.
Saving Private Ryan back then. The
No.
last one, if the last one got killed, the last one got killed.
Yeah. There was, yeah. And they used to have these rifle pits. During the Battle of Fredericksburg, they had rifle pits where they take a woven basket, dig a hole, put it in there, and then you would get down into this rifle pit basket and pop your head up a pop up figure, right? Shoot, pop down in the hole and reload and pop up again and shoot again. They called those rifle pits. It seemed that they loved putting Floridians. There were two Floridian brigades that fought at Fredericksburg, and they just loved putting us Floridians in those rifle pits. Man, I would not want to be in a rifle pit. Anyway, so that was the end of the war. Did you know? Have you ever been out to the Arlington National Cemetery?
I have not.
Okay, it's something that every American should go. They should go see the National Cathedral. They should go to Arlington, see the National Cemetery. It's just It's just rows and rows and just thousands of acres of headstones of armed forces, of people that gave up their lives for the freedom of this country. Not many people know that Lee's family, Lee's wife's family owned that property. So General Lee and his wife, they confiscated that property and made it Arlington. Did you ever know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So that was one of the things that they took away from
it's
Lee.
sad. What's sad too is, obviously not every soldier is buried there. So that's just a remnants of the amount of people we have lost in conflicts over the generations this country's been here.
Oh yeah. And on this day, 1942, U.S. forces surrendered at the Battle of Bataan in the Philippines, which started the Bataan Death March. So a lot of people don't know about war crimes and treatment of POWs, but in war, the Russians treated POWs pretty bad. Of course, the Russians treated POWs so badly that German forces were flocking to give themselves up to U.S. forces. And we really couldn't handle the influx of a million of prisoners that Germany surrendered to get away from the Russians. Okay. So they had their own Bataan Death March to Siberia. So with the POWs during World War II, it was amazing, but only in war, right? So today's observance, it's National Unicorn Day. I don't know about you, but I've been hunting unicorns my whole life. I got this unicorn vest. I got my unicorn hat. I've been hunting unicorns. Have you ever seen a unicorn?
I've never hunted unicorn, but I sure have hunted my fair share of snipes.
Snipes. Now they're, okay. As a kid, the grown-ups would send us chillins. You chillins, get a paper bag, and we're gonna go out snipe hunting. You've heard that, right? But there is actually a little bird called a snipe.
There is, yeah.
Yeah. So it almost looks like a sandpiper, right? It's a little snipe, but wow, I I didn't like doing that because we have lots of snakes in Florida, man. We had rattlesnakes, we had moccasins, we got black snakes, we got racers, now we got anacondas, we got everything in Florida.
Try having relatives like mine when we were little kids down in the hills of Kentucky. So they give you the like potato sack, burlap bag. You
Hmm?
go down there and they said, now you get down here in this ditch next to the creek, and they come running across. They follow the creek. So we're gonna go over here and chase them. So we'd be sitting there in this pitch dark, right?
Mhm.
So they would make their way all the way around us, and we don't know what they're doing, right? And they're supposed to make noise and chase it our way. Next thing you know, you got shotguns going off behind you. They're standing behind you, laughing, shooting shotguns. So we're talking about something to scare you shitless in the middle of the night.
I know. I know. I know. We had, and they thought that was fun. See, this is what
Yeah.
happens when you don't have TV, right? When you don't have TV,
Or you
grown-ups
don't
got to
have
think up
Google. You can
they got
Google
to
it.
think up all kind of stuff to do to the poor kids. And you talk about PDS and traumatizing them and everything else, but we turned out okay, except
Yeah,
for
we
me.
survived. We survived.
Yeah, we survived. It's also National Chinese Almond Cookie Day. So those are the cookies that are on the Chinese buffet down by the desserts, and the box of what 100-year-old ice cream. Where you have the community ice cream scoop, and you open up the floor freezer, and you have unknown flavors of ice cream. That's what I call it. Is your Chinese? Do they buy that from distributors of unknown ice cream?
I don't know where they get it at, but they definitely have it. I don't know.
They It's the weirdest ice cream that you've ever had. It's almost like it's been melted and refrozen 1,000 times, right?
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's like it's been like thawed out and then froze again.
Yeah, it's gritty. I call it gritty ice cream.
Yeah, it's got
Yeah.
pasty feel.
It's a mystery, the mystery dessert. But there's always some almond cookies right there. A big tray of them. You could use them for hockey pucks. Do you all use them for hockey pucks up in Springfield? There's got to be good hockey pucks.
Well, I don't know. I'd always eat mine. So
Oh, do you? Okay. All right. All right. Well, the first story that we have today, it's all about animals. That's kind of why I got my get up on today is animals. So this ostrich became a highway runner in Thailand. Now, oh, that's a kangaroo. Wait a second. What am I doing? James, what
I,
what am I doing?
you're in control. I don't
I
know.
am in control. Ostrich. There's an ostrich.
There's an
That's a crazy thing.
ostrich. There you go.
Holy cow, man, that's a big turkey.
It
Is that a big?
looks just like a kangaroo.
Yeah. What the hell is that? That's an ostrich.
You ever see a
Have you
right
ever
ostrich? Yeah,
have you
ostriches are
ever
big.
have you ever eaten an ostrich before?
I, I have not.
I have not either. I have not either. But an ostrich became a highway runner in Thailand and sprinted 10 miles along a busy highway, escaping where it was being held at an oddity bar. So they had this oddity bar as something to attract customers to come in, get a drink in Thailand, and who knows whatever else in Bangkok it is. And then all of a sudden, this ostrich escapes and off it's running. So I mean, if you're partying in Bangkok and you see an ostrich run by, I guess that's just common, right? That's just normal. The bird was captured and returned safely. I guess, I'm sure it was against its will, right? It
Well,
didn't want to go
they're
back.
kind of mean. Although you
Yeah.
can train them.
Train ostriches.
Yeah, you can train an ostrich.
I've seen photos or videos of people riding an
They
ostrich.
ride them. Yeah, little kids.
Yeah. Well, the next story is about a drunken raccoon, right? So, raccoons are just, a
That looks like
raccoon.
That looks like me without my shirt.
Yeah. Yeah. A raccoon broke into a Virginia liquor store, smashed bottles, sampled rum, whiskey, vodka, and then and more, and then passed out drunk in the bathroom floor. It sounds like my Saturday night, James. I don't know about you, but I'm not a
Sound like
raccoon.
last night for me.
It's just like,
Last night, Barstool Politics. I drank 2/5 of mud sliders and about 5 beers.
you drank. Oh, that was your barstool politics.
Yeah.
Who
It, it,
won? Who was on the bar stool at the end? I mean, who didn't fall off the bar stool?
it was me and Mr. Briggs.
Oh man, I think he has a seatbelt on his bar stool.
I think he does too.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, but
always
everybody
he's
else fell
sneaky.
out. I mean, I only did it for 8 hours.
Oh my God, that's a record. No,
My record's 16 hours.
this raccoon, he's remorseful this morning, but he's in jail. They had to arrest when authorities woke up the raccoon. They had to arrest him for breaking and entering and using a tiny pair of little paw cuffs. They put him in custody. So he's sleeping it off down at the animal shelter in Virginia. How about that? There's going to be a lot of drunk raccoons in Virginia, if you ask me. So there you go. All right, now we're getting to this ostrich. This is our ostrich. Oh, I mean kangaroo story. Here we go. Chesney the kangaroo scaled an 8-foot fence and escaped a Wisconsin petting zoo. Okay, and stayed on the lam for 3 days. This cat got out and it was roaming around, man. The homeless people in Wisconsin, they probably all went to a rehab center after seeing this walk up on them.
Well, kangaroos are known to be antisocial.
Mm. Didn't in World War II in the Pacific, didn't they have like boxing kangaroos and stuff?
Yeah, I was just saying that too, because my buddy Ronan lives in Australia,
Mm.
and I was talking to him. I said, how many kangaroos have you ever boxed? Why would you box a kangaroo? I said, oh, that's in Australia. It's probably not even thought of. Here, this is what we do to our animals. We teach them how to box, and then they'll knock the shit out of you. Because the
But
kangaroo will use its hind legs too
they use their tail to to
to
uh,
level. Yeah,
to level them, and then they take those
bam.
big ass legs of theirs and knock it in next Tuesday.
Yeah, like
That's
getting
that's how
took
they
by a
stun.
horse.
Yeah, they stun their opponents that way.
Yeah,
So you
be
can
like, where in
imagine.
the hell did that come from?
Right. So when you come up on this thing wanting to pet it and rub its furry ears, thinking that it's one of these, right? Because we grew up reading these books, right? Or if
Yeah,
your mother was nice to you, and all of a sudden this thing uses that tail of his and those legs to knock you to next Tuesday. That's tough, because you're
yeah.
thinking of this, but it ain't this. It's this. All right, I got you. I figured it out
I
now.
like
I'm figuring.
kangaroos.
Yeah, yeah, kangaroos are cool. All right, so this is our last story about animals. This is Animal Thursday, and this is our first episode of Animal Thursdays. Do you like animals? You like
I do,
animals, James? Tell me before we get
absolutely.
to the last story. Tell me that the puppy that you had to wean it yourself and
Mhm.
raise it. You don't tell us the beginning of the story, but tell us what you had to do to help your pet that you love, and that dog
Well,
loves you.
yeah, she was born with four others. Uh, the My daughter had left her dog down there because they had to come back to Ohio in a hurry, so they left the dog down in Florida. They did not know it was pregnant. So, but it was an old dog, so the only one that survived was my dog Mika. But she did not produce any milk, so I had to bottle feed this dog, this puppy, for well, I mean, since the third day I thought it was going to die because I didn't get to the PetSmart soon enough to get milk. I was so worried about that, and so that dog uh, stayed with me and come back from Florida here. Now she's actually my girlfriend's dog now. Because,
Oh man.
I mean, so anyways, but she didn't like her when she first come up here. She didn't like the dog, but I'd spent so much trouble keeping this dog alive. I just, no, got to keep it, got to keep it. I never worked so hard to keep an animal alive in all my life.
Yeah.
Because I work 12-hour days, 10, 12-hour days every day, even on Saturdays. And so I'd have to stay up all night and feed this dog, make sure it had enough, in its belly. So when I go to work, it's not going to starve to death, even though it really was starving to death. But yeah, I'd get up every couple hours and feed this dog all night long.
Wow, that's unbelievable. And that's what you do for an animal. I have a god dog that I just love, Missy. It's the cutest miniature Australian, but it's a mean dog, man. It only protects my daughter, and she's married. Has a kid now, and married Jeff and her are doing great. And I still today I'll go over to their house, and this dog will get right in front of Michelle, and you can't hug her, you can't kiss her on the cheek in front of this dog. This dog goes freaking ape crazy on you, man, because that's their whole job. And as soon as she leaves, and let's say they say, "Hey, Dad, can you babysit the dog for me?" Sure, I love it, right? As soon as they leave, the dog goes into its room, and that's it. You never see that dog again. It's like, I'm on break. She's gone. I don't have to protect her. I'm not hanging out with you, Grandpa. So I'm done. I'm out of here. Right? I mean, it's like it has a schedule. It's the funniest thing. Damn dog. I tell you, that's a damn dog. And you can't swim in the pool around it because it's trying to save you. It'll save you anybody if you swim in the pool. Well, what are you going to do? I love animals. Okay. The last story that we have is about, of course, sheep, because sheeps are dangerous animals. These things are dangerous, right? So the sheep supermarket invasion. So in Australia, they have flocks of these sheep, and a dozen of sheep from a herd wandered into a German penny supermarket. Okay, so I guess it was in Germany. So this was in Germany, and the people that were in the grocery store buying food had to climb onto the checkout areas, and and they were stuck on the conveyor belts for the checkout, those little rubber
Yeah.
things you put your food on, right? And the butchers and the bagmen of the supermarket had to herd the sheep out of the store, and management had to clean up the mess. So this not only did this herd herd humans. I mean, who the hell's afraid of a sheep? So these people are up on the counters, escaping these mad horde of sheep. Give me a break, right? Anyway, but the mess that they made, they had to clean up. So that's our end story. Those are encounters with animals. I don't know. It's kind of a light day. We've had a
I've
lot of
never
news.
really seen a mean sheep, and
Oh,
I've been around a few of them.
Now I've seen rams, goats. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I've had
they're the
those. Yeah,
assholes of the family. Yeah, those
absolutely.
rams they're named specifically for an action that they do. They
I,
will ram you, right?
I had a
And
white billy goat, and then I had one of those what they call a mountain goat. It had the real thick horns.
mhm,
It was a lot shorter than the white billy goat, but it was a lot stronger and had a thicker fur on it. But
yeah,
that they it would put their horns up against my kids' legs and knock them off balance just for the hell of it.
yeah, yeah. And I've had farmers where the ram comes and rams them as soon as you like open up the gate, and you're trying to do something. The damn thing's ramming you, and you look at him and you go, "What's with this horned animal you got here?" And he goes, "Don't worry, it's almost heavy enough where we're going to have it for barbecue next Thursday." So I mean, they can't wait to eat this thing. I mean, they can't wait.
Yeah,
It makes the separation of when you're, because if you're a farmer, you're growing plants and you eat the plants, and if you're uh, what do you call a rancher, a rancher that
yeah.
raises livestock, they'll tell you, don't ever name your livestock because you'll never eat them, and that's the whole purpose of raising pigs, or whatever.
Is to eat them.
Eat them. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there you go. All right. Well, that's about it. We got a lot of new in the news right now. A lot of people are taking up sides. Should we be over in Iran? Shouldn't we be in Iran? Personally, uh, when somebody tells me that I can't take a ship, or my commerce or my cargo ships, like remember the Somalia pirates that
Yeah.
were, the Somalia pirates were coming in on the coast. Well, they just weren't boarding cargo ships. They were boarding yachts, private boats. One time, these crazy fools tried to go on a Navy vessel. They didn't know
Yeah.
it was a Navy vessel. And what did we do? We blew them out of the water,
Yep.
you know, because if you disrupt trade, that doesn't matter what it is. It's you have the right to travel, international travel.
Yeah,
And
I get
Iran,
I get what you were saying last night. It is international waters.
right?
So who are they to say who can and cannot come through there? The whole world should be mad at them for that.
Exactly. We have Russian trawlers, we have Russian submarines, we have Russians that come through warships that go to Cuba all the time.
Yeah.
And if they want to scare people, they'll come in up to 3 miles of our shore just so you can kind of look out on the horizon and see a big ass naval ship out there and it's not ours and you know it. Yeah, that would scare people. So they don't want to scare people. So they'll stay 25, 30 miles offshore, 50 miles offshore. They'll stay offshore coming around the United States, just
Yeah.
not to create an incident. Okay.
Right.
But they're out there and they have the right to be out there. So an aircraft carrier could be 50, 100 miles offshore, go right past the shore. We can't do a thing. It's international waters. Did you know in international waters that you can sign contracts and avoid a lot of taxes on that contract?
They're not.
Yeah, so people that
I know the rules are different. So
yeah,
yeah.
there's definitely rules. So what people do is they if they're going to buy something and they're going to spend they're going to sign a contract worth millions of dollars, they will rent your yacht and you will go out to international waters and then they will sign all the documents. It'll be notarized there and the captain will notarize that they are in international waters and there's a whole different set of taxation that goes on for that. Okay?
Yeah.
Um, So that the international waters is a thing. It's just not a not thing. It is a thing. But hey, that's here nor there. Uh, but they've been messing with international waters for 47 years, or ever since the revolution. Ever since the revolution. So you know, do I really care? No. They showed their hand. They showed their hand of who they are when they put kids and women on those bridges and in front of power
Yeah.
plants.
You
Iran did.
know,
What?
Hamas did that in the Gaza Straits too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's a normal tactic of theirs. You know, because the world don't want to see little women and children get killed uh, as collateral damage in a conflict. So what do? They put women and children out front.
right. I'm getting my phone is like ringing off the hook.
You know, it's like in the Gaza Strip, they put a lot of their stuff in. Well, even in Iraq, I think they did this too. They put all their stuff around hospitals and
Yeah,
schools, so that if you destroyed their equipment, you also took out innocent young people.
yeah,
That
yeah. We
that just shows you what they value life as.
right. Yeah, and hey, I don't know. I think he's changing the goal. I think he's moving the needle. You can say that about he's President Trump is not status quo, and if it's a problem, he'll try to solve it. If he can't solve it, he gave it a good college try, right?
Yep.
And so there you go. Good luck with the next president. He's going to have a hell of a deal to fill, for the next president. Who wants to be president with this media? So don't take it too serious. I don't take it too serious. I have a safari to go on to. I'm going to go try to find a flock of geese. Florida geese, man, they're the worst. You ever seen Florida geese? They poop all over your yard and they're mean. They the geese will graze and there'll be two or three guard geese that look out over the flock, making sure nothing happens to them. It's organized chaos with geese, buddy. Let me tell you.
Well,
It's
yeah. I mean,
really
you know, they got a system. I mean, it's wildlife. They have their own way of doing things. You know, we have Canadian geese here
uh-huh.
in our local park. They're not they're domesticated wildlife. Of course, they're in the whole eating the cats, eating the dogs, eating the ducks kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Canadian geese. You know, they still haven't um, replenished the population. You know, to replace them. So we are down a lot of ducks. We have almost zero ducks left, and very few Canadian geese in our lagoon.
And they're being eaten by humans.
by Haitians.
Damn. We have swans in Orlando. You know, all of our lakes in downtown Orlando are sinkholes. So, you know, there's not much you can put in them. You can't, you know, build a house next to them because it might get gobbled up by the sinkhole. So they put swans and they put floating fountains and
They're
things
probably
like that.
pretty deep too, aren't they?
Oh hell yeah! Some of them are bottomless. I mean,
Yeah.
they tested they during World War II. We got a lake that's bottomless. They tested sonar in it. They developed sonar just to try to figure out how deep this dang lake was. It's a tunnel. It goes straight down forever, right? The abyss. They got one
True.
close to Ocala that's like that too. A spring that's the abyss, and they test out. They test submarines. They test out welds. They test out everything in there. You know, they're trying to test how, you know, and it was safety because if you did it offshore, the Nazis would blow you up with a U-boat. So they had to be inland testing all this equipment and keeping
Right.
it secret. So radar, sonar, all that had to be secret during World War II. And the only way to do it was to do it at these lakes, and then they could control the security around it. But yeah, they're deep as hell, man. I wear a personal flotation device. If this lady, this lady Hooker, now she wasn't a hooker. Her last name is Hooker down in the Bahamas. She fell off a dinghy with her husband and drowned. Supposedly, she's missing, right? So I call it. She got Natalie Wood. You know, Natalie Wood, the
Yeah.
actress, went
Yep.
swimming, never to be, you know, went swimming
Fell
and
off the
drowned.
yacht.
Yeah. We call that Natalie Wood. That happens a lot where in the Bahamas, the American couple buy a boat, sell their homes, you know, going to sail around the world. And before you know it, you know, mama's nowhere around, right? Daddy's got a young thing. Daddy's got, daddy's got this on the boat instead of mama. Mama's gone and this is on the boat. So we don't know what happened to, we don't know what happened to mom, right? That's called Natalie Wood, right? She got Natalie Wood. So, but if she would have had a flotation device that are inexpensive, they're about $129. You put it on, it's a little vest, and if you hit the water, it blows up automatically. Well, a lot of people don't like them because it gets wet on boats and they'll blow up automatically. They'll just inflate inside the holder or closet or whatever if it gets wet because that's what it's supposed to do. All right, but you can still use it. You can deflate it and self-inflate it with a tube, which it has. So I have one that's already been inflated. I deflated it and then I use it in case I fall overboard. I can just blow it up. So anyway, why people don't have brand new ones that work properly or have used ones like I have that you can blow it up yourself? Because I'm a big guy. I'm 250 pounds. I fall in the water. I'm not as young as I used to be. I can't tread water for an hour until I'm found, you know?
You take me. I like boats, but I can't swim. So
Yeah, you got to know how to swim, man.
we went. It's a long story. My mom, she had a brother and a sister who both died a couple years apart. Both drowned. So we were never allowed in the water. We were never allowed to go to the public pool. We were never allowed to take swimming lessons. Just never allowed. So,
I almost drowned twice as a child. We would go up to Stark, Florida, which is famous for Rayford, the state prison, but that's just because the state prison is outside Stark, Florida. But there was also Camp Blanding was there. Camp Blanding was the most populated city in Florida during World War II. That's where they trained a lot of servicemen, and they still use Camp Blanding as a training. It's the north side of the Ocala National Forest training facility, which you've heard of before. And they drop parachutes. They teach you in scuba diving. So we all knew how, you know, all my cousins, like I was little, but all my cousins would scuba dive on Kingsley Lake. So my grandfather had a compound on this Kingsley Lake. He had a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house on the mainland, a dock that went out. Then he had a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house on stilts in the water with a dock that went around the house. And then he had another dock that went out and then a 2-lift boathouse where the laundry was in the middle. And we would fish from there. So you're talking something that's about 100 yards offshore, that a facility that went from the shore 100 yards out you were still walking on dock. Okay. So you had a lot of swimming area. You could swim from the the furthest dock all the way to shore, that was 100 yards. So we all swam, like, even our dogs would go underwater and swim. I mean, it was crazy, right? Just, it was a water park. And so they had a water park on the lake. So when you fish for, you use shiners to catch bass. So we had a shiner net underneath the one of the boat lifts. And so they're nasty, they're gross, they've got green growth on them. You put the shiners in there to hold them, and then you lift up the basket and you take out your shiner, you go fishing, right? So they all left, and they left my cousin Hank, who was supposed to babysit me. I'm in the water, and I fell into the water, and I'm like 6 or 5, and I'm drowning. I'm gone. And the only thing that kept me alive was I had to bounce off of that shiner net that was all gross and overgrown with fungus and everything, green and slimy. So that was gross enough. And I would bounce off of that, they said, and go up to the surface and scream, and then sink right back down again onto that damn net. So whatever I was bouncing on, I was going back and forth and back and forth. So they my mother saved me, because they came back and they could hear me screaming, and she saved me. So after that, they put this bubble. They had this it looked like ice chests were made out of styrofoam. So they had this styrofoam bubble that they strapped on me and triple knotted it, so I couldn't untie it. And so for the rest of the time we were up there, about 2 or 3 weeks, I had to sleep with this bubble on. I had to go swimming with this bubble on. I could never take it off, right? It was the damn bubble.
In case you went Roman.
Right. And so when I got older, we all went down to Strickland's, which was a water park in the lake. And basically what they did was, this guy had a great idea. He built a tower, but it was too shallow to dive off the tower. So he got a backhoe out there and he dug a pit, and he dug this real deep pit into the sand of the lake. And then you could climb up on this tower and dive off, do a high dive into the pit, right?
Yeah.
Right. Great idea. Until Timmy gets up there, right? Who's too young to go up on the tower. Timmy does a belly flop, probably the world's championship belly flop, right on his stomach, knocking his air out. And down the pit I went, right? And this lifeguard lady saved my ass and breathed life back into me on the dock. All my cousins were around me. And I mean, I'm 7 generations. So there was about 25 cousins around me that were all basically the same age, right? And they all were watching, and old Timmy came back to life. And we never told, they all looked, the older cousins all looked at me and said, Timmy, don't tell anybody about this. We're not telling anybody about this, because they won't let us come back to Strickland's to play in the water park anymore if we do this. So that was our secret. We had a secret all of our lives of a close encounter. And thank God for lifeguards, right?
Did you ever tell them? Tell your
No.
parents?
No. Well, I told them like after college or something. I don't know.
Right. That's what I mean. Did you ever tell them at all? So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was afterwards. I mean, because if you tell your parents everything that you do as a kid, they'll have gray hair for the rest of their lives. I mean, their hair will turn gray immediately, and you'll probably never get another Christmas present for the rest of your life. So
it's
Good
funny.
luck with that.
Me and my brothers will be talking when my mom was still alive, and we'll be talking about something we did while because she worked 2 jobs, right?
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, she worked the bars. She was a barmaid. So we had the reign of the house and the neighborhood to ourselves until she got off work. And we'd be like, in our late 20s, early 30s, and we'll be talking about something, not realizing that she didn't know nothing about it. That's something we did. And she'll be like, she'll still get up and slap you.
Oh, yeah.
You did what?
Because she had to defend you guys when somebody told her what you all did, and she defended you guys.
Yeah, no kidding. Like my brothers, they were bad for stealing their car.
We borrowed my mom's car all the time.
Yeah, we'll borrow it. It was brought back.
We would take it into the orange groves and go dirt riding in the orange groves in her car. And we got it stuck one time. Hey, these are all life lessons. How to unstick a car, how to wedge a piece of wood in the wheel so you can spin the wheel and get it out of the dirt in the orange grove. These are all life lessons that at 2 a.m. will come back to save you when you get older, is what I said. But she would say, Bo, something's wrong with my windows. And my dad would say, why? And she said, there's sand all in my car. And I didn't, I don't know why there's sand all in my car. And we would all just be like, I don't know, Mom. I got a leak in there somewhere, I guess. I don't know why there's sand in the car. We would go so fast in the orange grove and turn that the sand would just come through and into the car,
Well, I tell you, my younger brother and his buddies borrowed his parents' car, right? A big
Car.
Impala, big 74 Impala. You know how big it was, right?
Oh yeah.
So my brother comes in the house. I was already living out on my own, I had a kid and everything, and so he comes in the house and says, "Hey, James, Ralph had an accident with his dad's car. We want to see if you can fix it before his dad finds out." Because I did body work, right?
Right.
So I go
You
out
were
there,
you were
and
popular.
so the car was black, right? So it was on the passenger side was the damage, but they pulled the car into the driveway nose first, facing the house. So I said, "Well, where's the damage?" Well, it's on the passenger side. I was telling him you could probably fix it, but we got to make an excuse for you to keep it for a while. I said, "Keep it for a while." And I walk around, and they had hit a telephone pole sideways.
Oh yeah, that's the worst.
Oh, pancake the crap out of that. I look at it. I look both of them. I said, "You might as well just dig your grave now because I can't fix this in a matter of a day." I said,
No.
I said, "This thing is messed up." I said, "It needs a quarter panel."
Yeah.
So, anyways, he got in trouble. He got grounded for like 3 months. But then
Mhm.
his dad finally come up and said, "Ralph said you can fix this. Can you fix this?" He said he's gonna pay for it, but can you fix this? And I said, "I can give it a shot." So I hooked a come along into a tree,
Uh-huh. Sure.
and I with a 2x4 and a big old hammer and a come along tied to that tree. I pulled the quarter out, and then I finished. Back then, we didn't have welders and all this other kind of stuff, so it still
Hmm.
had like a little buckle I couldn't get out of it. So I took a piece of sheet metal and I went over it, and then I pre-sunk the holes, and I put pop rivets in it and grounded it down smooth, and then I filled it all in with little tiger hair and little Bondo, and I painted it back black. You could have never told it was wrecked. You just didn't know it until you reached your
Wow.
hand up into the fender well. Then you
Yeah.
knew.
No, I was the youngest. So my dad bought a brand new Torino. It won on Sunday. He bought a brand new Torino on Monday, right? So whatever won in NASCAR on Sunday, you bought it on Monday at the
Yeah,
dealership. And he was doing really good. Disney, I think Disney just opened. Disney just opened. We had the Gray Line bus company, Gray Line. So he was doing pretty good. So he bought a Torino. That was the first nice car my dad ever had because they owned the city buses before that. And the city buses, you just didn't make a lot of money. You
what year
just,
was the Trino again?
oh, I don't know. It was like a 70, 69, 70, 71 Torino.
Oh yeah, the good
And
ones.
it was a fastback two-door. And hey, my dad's a family man. He would never buy a two-door, but he did. Right.
My mom had a Torino GT with the automatic on the floor.
Oh yeah. That was the Starsky and Hutch, right?
Well, that's the newer models, the 69, 70, 71s. They were more like a different model. They didn't have the how can I explain it? They looked a lot like Monte Carlos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of the like the early 70s, mid 70s models.
This this was like a fastback. This was a fastback. Almost looked like a Ford Mustang, but it was a fastback Torino.
Yeah. Now you might be talking about the 70, 72, 73s. And like
Probably.
Starsky and Hutch is like a 75, 74, 75 model.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So anyway, so it was the first nice car my dad really ever owned, and he bought it and loved it. So my brother was 16, and he took all his buddies over to Daytona in it without his knowledge, and they ran it and split it literally in half in a on a telephone pole, right? I mean, or an embankment or something. Anyway, the car not only was totaled, they were lucky to be alive. All of them in the car were lucky to be alive, and the car split in half. That's all I know about it. I was young, right? My dad never bought a new car after that. He had bigger vehicles, but I mean, he never really got over that. And, that broke his heart. And so as the youngest, I would never do anything to break my dad's heart ever, never. Because, why
Yeah.
would you? So I always got along with Big Sid, man. I always got along with him, man. That's what we called him, Big Sid. He was 6'5". They called him Cowboy or Big Sid, and I always got along with the man because
See, I always paid attention to what my older brother did, and I did the opposite.
the opposite, right? And
Yeah.
so I got to go with the old man to go deep sea fishing. I got to go with the old man to go camping. You know what I mean? It was like no problem,
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. I love it. No problem.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Because back then, I say it all the time. My mom was she was